If you're struggling with your creativity right now, or you just kind of feel unproductive, unaccomplished, you're in like a little bit of a rut, I got one adjustment that you can make right now that could change everything for you. And this is something that is backed by every motivational speaker, every self-help person out there, even, spiritual gurus, neuroscientists, quantum physicists, everybody that is on the internet giving advice is saying this in one way or another. And now I'm going to bring this to you, the creative people, the weirdos, the introverts, wherever you are, this message is for you. And the message is really simple. Multitasking is a fallacy. Most of the time, we are lying to ourselves by saying that we are being more productive by multitasking. We are most of the time doing the opposite. We are pretty much not giving our best effort at anything that we are doing if we're doing more than one thing at a time. And I'm not saying that multitasking isn't a good thing sometimes. There are some times where it's gonna get you through. When you put on a podcast and you're commuting to work, you're driving, like whatever gets you through the day is fine. But when it comes to creativity, this is where we really have to be careful and we really have to be aware of when multitasking becomes a bad habit. Because this is what Rick Rubin and Joe Dispenza talk about. They talk about creativity coming from being present. And when we're walking around the neighborhood and we're listening to music at the same time, we're not exactly present with everything that's going on. If we're laying in bed and we got our phone out and we're doing stuff, we are not really present with what's going on. And although we might seem productive, we're tricking ourselves into thinking we're doing more than one thing at a time, so that's being productive. It's actually holding us back from being creative and from feeling productive. Because that lack of presence is what makes us not remember what we did that day. Because we were not as present as we could have been, we don't really even remember. I mean, how many times have you, sat up and thought, what did I actually do today? What did I actually do yesterday? The reasoning behind that is because most of that day, you were probably not present with what was going on. So here's what we need to start doing. In college, I started out as a math major. I don't know if you're a math person, but mathematics has this principle where it only takes 2 points to form a line. And if we take that logic and that principle, if we do something twice, we effectively have built a habit. Think about if you go out one night and you're celebrating, I don't know if you're graduating, you're going out to party, right? You go out there, you're having a good time. If you wake up the next day and do that all over again, now you're on a bender. Now you've effectively created a partying habit because it wasn't just a one-time thing. Now you've done it twice in a row. And if you're like me and you even have an inkling of an addictive or obsessive personality, you know what's gonna happen that third day when it starts to get late at night? Your brain is like, hey, why don't we go party again? Because our mind and our ego is a pleasure-seeking machine. It is constantly looking to get more and more pleasure out of life. And although we might say, well, what's wrong with pleasure? What's wrong with, having fun all the time? We begin to lose sight and lose focus of things that are actually important to us, right? Eating ice cream is awesome. If we eat ice cream every meal of the day, it's probably going to be bad for us. And I was listening to this guy, I was watching an interview with this guy, his name was Shi Heng Yi. Okay, and he was talking about freedom. And a lot of us think that we have all of these available options to us. You know, we have the freedom of choice, and that's what freedom is, that we can do whatever we want. But he argued that that's not real freedom. Real freedom is having that ability to do whatever you want and still implementing a structure that is good for you. Because when you start kind of just doing whatever you want all the time, you begin to be a slave to the mind. That's what he calls it, to get out of being a slave to the mind. And I think there's so much in society now, especially with these freaking things, that enables us to be a slave to our mind, a slave to that lizard part of our brain, you know, that's always seeking more pleasure, you know, that doesn't care about the consequences, that is ready to have fun at all times. This is the adjustment that we need to make, is implementing that structure, like really hunkering down and thinking about the vision you have for your future, the type of person that you want to be, the type of artist or creative person that you want to be. What kinds of routines do you see yourself having? Do you see yourself as somebody that wakes up and does meditation, or reads a book before bed, or listens to a podcast, you know, instead of the same Blink-182 album every day? If you're somebody that is eating and on your phone at the same time, watching a YouTube video in the bathroom, scrolling on Instagram before bed, these are moments where we could be present. And these are moments where creativity is being blocked from you. Ideas are not able to make it into your antenna because you have walled it off by your lack of presence. This is something that also Pharrell Williams talk about. Creativity is not coming from you, it's flowing through you. Think of yourself as always having an antenna up and letting those ideas come. The minute you start scrolling on this damn thing, you are effectively turning off that antenna and tuning into whatever's going on here. And now sometimes you can get ideas from this, you can get ideas from some other people. That's all well and good, but again, it only takes 2 points to form a line. It only takes something to happen twice before it becomes a habit. And as human beings, we are creatures of habit. So as creative people, we need to create positive habits in order for us to keep that creativity alive, to keep that productivity alive. Because otherwise, we're just going to be going to work, commuting, scrolling on our phone, eating takeout, and going to bed. And that is going to be a very tough habit to break once it starts getting going. Really think about what your final form is as a creative person, and every day start to take steps toward that vision. Something that Shi-Heng Yi also said in that interview was, in order to have enjoyment, in order to actually enjoy things that you're doing, you have to be present with them. And that was something that I took to heart, because I was thinking about all of the things, like this morning even, I was eating breakfast. I made pancakes, right? And I was on my phone with pancakes, eating pancakes, right? And I take one bite of these pancakes, and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, this is actually good. You know, I put a little vanilla in there, threw some blueberries in there, and it hit me that moment. If you want to enjoy this, be present with it. And even though I was, scrolling on my phone, I put my phone down and I was just like, I'm going to enjoy this moment. And I really think that that's what life is about, enjoying those moments. And you know what? I remember eating those pancakes now. If I would have just stayed on my phone and ate those pancakes, I probably would not remember the breakfast that I had. So that's my tip to you artists out there. Start being more present in these moments. Being more present when you're brushing your teeth, in the shower. Stop, listening to music all the time. Really allow for ideas to come through you. And if you dig this video, I want you to check out this video up here. This is another book I read called Manifest Your Destiny. And if you're a creative person out there and you have a vision for who you want to be, let's make that vision a reality. Let's start manifesting. Click this video and let's get started. Stay creative.